Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to another Sunday of NCKidz. I hope you're all super excited to be learning about Jesus this morning. I know we can't meet in person, but luckily we're still able to meet, and you guys can learn about Jesus through the videos and through our different platforms. It's so exciting. Hope you've all been joining us on a Friday night. I know that, I don't know if you guys know, but we've been doing it now on a new series called The Greatest Story Ever. We've just done our third week. So please come and join us. It's on a Friday night, 5:30 to 7. It's really awesome. But this morning we're going to be learning about an awesome story that comes from the Old Testament in Genesis. And the story is going to be looking at Isaac and the wells. But before we get into the story, let's open in prayer. Hands together, bow our heads, close our eyes. Father God, I just want to give you this opportunity to come and work in these wonderful children, and thank you for everything you've done and where you've been and everything you've seen. And Father, we know you've got it and you're in control, and we know that you have a plan and a purpose and everything for us, Father, and we know that you're behind us and everything happens for you, and we must do everything in your glory. And I know a lot of us there's a lot of uncertainty still about where it's happening, and I know some of us are returning to school and some of us have just returned back to school. Father, I just want you to put a hand over us all as we go through the next couple of weeks, and help those that as they're adjusting back to school life, who starts tomorrow, that they know they're with you and you have the plan and the purpose, Father. In your name, amen. So, boys and girls, does anyone remember what story we're going to be looking at? I can't hear you. What story? Oh yes, it was from Genesis 26. It's the story of Isaac and the wells. Does anyone know what a well is before we start? Sorry, I can't hear you. A well? Yes, a well is a hole that has been dug into the ground to get fresh water, if it is in the right place and in the right position and deep enough. Because you know, in the Bible times, they didn't have water like you and I have today, where there was water, you go to a tap, you open it, there's water. They didn't have water like that in Bible times, in the early times of the Bible, especially in the Old Testament. So they had to dig big wells. A lot of us have seen wells in storybooks or in cartoons where you have that bucket and they like rope it down. That's pretty much a well. And there's different types. So this story is about a well. Okay? So we're going to be looking at Isaac. Does anyone know who Isaac is? Yes! Isaac was the son of Abraham. Isaac and his family were in desperate need for water. So they went to a little town. How do I say the word? I mean, actually.
Girl. It's a good question. Girl. Just say girl. Cool.
Isaac, his family and animals all went to this little town of Gerar. Gerar was a town where Abraham, who was Isaac's father, had built these beautiful, old, beautiful looking wells. And he knew that if he went to these wells, they would have to do a bit of cleaning and sort it out. And once they got to the wells, they'll be able to get fresh water. And guess what? They got fresh water. So Isaac and his family were living on the wells, and they started to become rich. When I say rich, I don't mean they had lots of money. They were rich in terms of their crops were growing. They were rich in terms of the animals were breeding and having babies, and there was more animals. And you know, everything was just flourishing. Everything was coming so beautiful. But the people of Gerar were getting very, very jealous. So the people of Gerar came to Isaac and got angry because Isaac was doing well and they weren't, because they had fresh water. And all that they had fresh water because God was with him and helping him to get the water. So the people of Gerar asked Isaac to leave and they wanted to fight. But Isaac didn't want to fight. He gathered his belongings, his family and animals, and off they moved. they went along. They came to along a more set of wells. They did a bit of cleaning and they started to work. What happened? They got fresh water. And the people of Gerar, more people of Gerar came, because he was outside of Gerar, and he came and they saw that they had fresh water. So they decided to fill it with sand. How ugly is that? That they filled his fresh water with sand so he couldn't be rich and his crops couldn't grow and people couldn't get water. That's very mean, I would say. So he then landed up, these people wanting to fight again with him. So the people came to Isaac and wanted to fight, and Isaac didn't want to fight. So Isaac was then asked to leave once again. So Isaac, his belongings, friends and family and animals all got on their way and they went looking in search of more wells. Would you guys have had a fight by now or been cross or angry? I'm sure we would have, but Isaac didn't. He picked up his stuff and he moved with no issue. No problems, he gathered, he didn't argue, he didn't fight, he didn't get upset. But he moved on to another set of wells. This time he put a little bit of work, they did a bit of cleaning, and guess what? They got fresh water. How exciting is that? Every time he moved, they got fresh water. That is just so awesome. So they got fresh water and he moved to the next bit of wells, and the exciting part was they got fresh water. And guess what? More people came this time. And Isaac thought to himself, I wonder if these people are going to fight and get angry with me about having fresh water. But no, these people were the king of Gerar, and they had come to speak to Isaac to say, we don't want to fight. Let's come together and make a promise that we don't fight with each other and we share the water. How exciting is that? So, what did Isaac do? Isaac was very happy that these people wanted to come and want to make a promise of no fighting or getting angry. So he decided they created a dinner and they all sat down for this meal and they shared the meal and they shared the water. How awesome is that? That is so exciting. I know a lot of us get angry quickly or we get upset or hurt over the little things. But Isaac, he kept getting told to move places. And he never got upset or angry. And the people came to love him. And then they eventually all came together. And the reason they were getting angry is because they knew God was with him. And God was helping him and assisting him and working with him in developing his town or his little village and his people and the animals and everything. And he knew that they knew that they were so jealous. And jealousy is awful. So what I want you guys to remember is that God is with us along the way. If he helps us, and we mustn't get upset or angry when things happen, and people often will upset us. It's life. Your brother might do something, your sister might say something, but don't get upset. I want you all to be super excited and be proud Christians and show other people who are Christian or not Christian what it is to be a true Christian. I know sometimes it's a lot easier said than done, but what I do want you to remember is that with practice, it will come easier. So the memory verse for today is Proverbs 15 verse 1. A gentle answer turns away wealth, but harsh words stirs up anger. So what I want you guys to remember is that you must live by this verse. If you can be upset, it's a natural response. But I want you all to remember that don't stir up anger with a harsh word. A harsh word could be anything that you could regret. But I want you all to remember that every day that you are going to be challenged and you're going to face battles and people who aren't going to be as nice as you want them to be. But just remember that don't be angry. Don't stir them with or fight fire with fire type of thing. Walk away, be a good Christian and do what Jesus did. And when people were angry with him or when he was upset, when they were upsetting him, he didn't fight with them. He just walked away, and so did Isaac. Isaac, when they were fighting and people were irritating him and wanting to look for battles, all he did is he picked up his belongings and he moved. He didn't get into a fight because it was a lot easier. So that I want you boys and girls to remember is this week, when you go through this week and the next coming weeks, I want you to remember that when your sibling or your friend or your parent or anyone irritates you or causes any trouble or wants to have a fight with you, I want you to remember that don't fight back with harsh words because it's going to stir anger. And we don't want anger. Anger is awful inside of us because it eats at us and it goes inside and it's really ugly and it's not a nice trait and it's not a true Christian. So I want you all to remember that and to really build on the word and build on our memory verse of Proverbs 15 verse 1. And I want you guys to actually start to let us know how you think, how you're changing or how this message is impacted or how can you live it going forward and what practical examples you can do. I know that the next couple of weeks we're going to be looking at different sections and we're going to be working through the Bible and we're going to be starting at the beginning, which is what we are in Genesis. But I just want you guys to remember that God is with us regardless of what's happening. Okay, so I hope you guys had an awesome lesson and enjoyed it. And hopefully soon we'll be able to meet in person again. But I just want you guys to have an awesome week and we'll see you soon. Bye guys!